these back. Hopefully we don't keep losing them.
Just give us 1 minute, please.
Typically we give these back after the executive session.
Yeah, you did. So we ready?
Yep.
We're ready, Bob. Good evening to the regular portion of the school committee's meeting for December 12, 2019. The school committee is reconvening after the executive session. I'd like all of you who are present to please rise in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda are recognitions. I have 2 recognitions tonight, and both of these are coming from our wonderful special town meeting on Monday night. For me personally, I find the town meetings a true form of democracy. I had my brush with democracy in India as a child. My father used to work for the upper chamber of the parliament in India. There was a different kind of democracy. This is so true to showcase the power that rests with the regular person. And so I always enjoy going to the town meeting. So my recognition tonight is really to the people of Hopkinton who came on a rainy night. There was a lot of work that was done on the run-up to the town meeting from the school department and all my colleagues here. We stood before the town and we requested $10 million in the middle of the year. That is not a small amount. The people of Hopkinton could very clearly see the need, and they so generously and overwhelmingly supported this ask. So my deepest respect and gratitude to them, especially to those who do not have kids who go to our schools, those who are on fixed income, on low income. We appreciate your support so much. My second recognition tonight, also coming from the town meeting, is for a gentleman who had the sense of the timing sometimes. We're all thinking things, but we are not able to say those things at the right time. I learned through social media some good things there, right? The name of the gentleman is Henry Siegel. So I would like to commend Mr. Henry Siegel. There was a conversation going around about where are these kids coming from, where is this growth coming from? And he got up and he said, it does not matter where the kids come from. These are all our kids, all our children. So thank you, Mr. Siegel. Sometimes the obvious needs to be said. It just renewed my faith. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. As an immigrant, this is what made me choose America as my country. So thank you. I don't know if there are any other recognitions. Anything else? All right. We'll move right into public comments. Anybody would like to make a public comment? Okay. We'll move on. The next item on the agenda, reports, Student Council.
All by yourself tonight?
All by myself. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Will Dion. I'm the Vice President of Student Council, and I'm a senior here at HHS. And sort of after Thanksgiving break, quite a bit has been happening here at HHS. After winter break, or after Thanksgiving break, the winter sports season has started, sort of kicked off. As you can probably hear, basketball is going on in the gym. I know we have track tonight and a bunch of other events, so that's very exciting for the school. Another season of sports. Additionally, the Student Council is having our Ugly Sweater Day next Friday. to sort of kick off the holiday break. We're very excited about that. Additionally, the students of HHS were very excited about the new classrooms that we're getting, that we were informed about after the town meeting. Additionally, as many of you know, the high school has been working on a program called Challenge Success, and a lot of that took place before Thanksgiving break, during which the students took a survey and also engaged in discussion about stressors and stress levels, and also redefining success. And as a student, I personally found it it was a very good way to put things into perspective, especially as myself and fellow seniors have quite a few different things going on in our lives. So I thought that program was a very positive way to help students redefine success. And also, when we took this survey, which the results will be coming back soon, we'll be able to sort of be better able to identify and manage some of these stressors. Additionally, many teachers have been getting the opportunity to shadow students. This is also part of this initiative to have teachers sort of gain a new perspective into the students' academic and academic careers. Additionally, the student council is heading to Boston next Saturday. We're volunteering at an event called Christmas in the City. That's sort of tradition that we always do, in which we help out in Boston at this project that puts on a Christmas celebration for many of the shelters in Boston, and that's a tradition that we always have a lot of fun at. It's a good day for the student council, and of course the entire school is quite ready for holiday break. So we're sort of these next 2 weeks, they're busy, but we're pushing through just to get to that nice homework-free vacation. And after the break, exams will be coming up. So I think we have 2 or 3 weeks, and then midterms, and then we'll start the second semester. And finally, 2 more events that have recently taken place were the robotics competition last Saturday, and also the concerts for the jazz band and orchestra, which took place the last 2 nights. So quite a bit happening here at HHS, but it keeps us busy and sort of keeps us busy till break. Any questions?
Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Yeah.
I just have a comment. It's really nice to hear from students about the Challenge Success. I attended the parent night, and I thought it was one of the best presentations I had been to. It was really impactful. There was someone playing the role of the student, and then like about 12 or 15 people came up, and in the course of a day. So it was the club advisor and the whatever coach, and throughout the day, how many asks are placed on our kids. And it all seems so innocent when you're a parent at 30,000 feet looking at your kid's life, but to see it kind of acted out, I was like, oh boy, that's a lot. That's a heavy load. So it's nice to hear that you as a student are also kind of rethinking things a little bit, having seen the presentation or done the survey.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's a good program.
It's great. Thank you so much for coming out tonight and giving so many updates. So much going on for December.
Yeah, we stay busy.
I hope you have wonderful holidays.
And you all as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
You too.
So we're moving into budget presentations. I'd just like to recognize that Mr. Mike Manning from the Appropriations Committee is here tonight. Hello, Mr. Manning. And if you have any questions during the presentations, you'd be welcome to come up. So I'd first like to invite Ms. Lauren DeBow, principal of our Marathon Elementary. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
That time of year again, along with holiday break, it's budget time. So, here we are, Marathon. Well, I will present on kindergarten and first grade. The preschool budgeting is considered under the special education umbrella, so you'll hear me speak tonight about kindergarten and first grade. So as you know, we've done a lot of work on our enrollments, and As of December 1st, we had 566 students. Our projection for next year is more. We are projected to have 588 students. So there are some adds for our budget, which the capacity study was very helpful, because primarily going with our numbers before that study, you know, we base it on the numbers, not what we wish or what we want. Okay, this is what we're projected to have. It certainly did change the marathon budget moving forward. But something interesting that I found, so for FY21, we're planning for 588 K1 students. My first budget presentation for FY15, we were projecting for 417 K1 students. So in that span of the years, that's a difference of 171 K1 students, which is tremendous. So moving forward back to FY21, we are seeking an additional first grade class. So the projection for first grade within that 588 number is 313 students. So we are approaching 300 now. We'll surely pass it by the end of this year. But with that, we currently have 13 first grade classes. We are seeking a 14th first grade class. The projection for kindergarten next year is 275 students. We are right now maintaining our 13 kindergarten classes. So what that means class size, for first grade we'd have approximately 22 in a class, and for kindergarten 21 students in a class. So when we look at how do we support all of those little people in this building, I haven't had many staff requests in recent years, except for moving into the building, adding classes, but this year I do, and I'll speak to what those are. We are asking for an additional classroom teacher for first grade. When we moved into Marathon, the plan was, and as was your plan, 18 to 20 in a class. We have not yet met that, and we would not meet that if we didn't add a first grade class. We do have a class at 24 now. Others have come close. We've got some 23 in first grade, and students have moved in and out. But for these foundational years, someday we would like to get to 18 to 20, but that additional first grade class helps us get to 22 in a class. With that, we need to add to our related art staff. So that's art, wellness, PE. The way our schedule is currently configured, we're able to make it work with art and music and library for an additional class. We are not, however, with our wellness staff. So you see an ask of 0.1 FTE, and you might think, what is that? How can that be helpful? So what that is that equates to 3 classes, 3 40-minute blocks. And while I'm asking for a 0.1 person, chances are, as we look at our elementary needs, we'll be able to probably share someone, but I don't have that flexibility now with our wellness staff, because we have 2 full-time FTEs and another full-time person that we share with Hopkins. So unless I were to borrow from Hopkins or to share with their additional class size or asks, that's how that is configured, because I'm sure it sounds odd. How do you have a 0.1 person? But that's what it means, 3 classes we need at our building for that. And that would equate to 2 PE and 1 health class for us. We have 2 first grade paraprofessionals who currently support first grade. This is general education support. They cover everything. These staff members are amazing. Arrival, dismissal, they facilitate coverage when teachers have meetings. They facilitate instruction in classrooms. They're added support for centers, rotations, small groups. So we have 2 staff members who share that role among 13 classes. So when you divide up that time, in addition to lunch duty and their own lunch, it's minimal support per class. So even prior to seeking that ask for the 14th first grade class, I was seeking to add another paraprofessional. So instead of the person supporting 6 to 7 classes, they would support 4 to 5, which gives you greater time, greater face time with students. And we really work on time in class with students. Over the years, we've incorporated a system called Time for Teachers, where we have parent volunteers come in to copy, to laminate, to bind books, because we want our paraprofessionals to be spending time in class with students. So they're not doing that office work. We typically have more helpers than we do work, and sometimes they're out of work because our laminator's jammed. So we are finding other jobs. So that's sometimes one of our greatest challenges, is who's jamming that laminator. But we will get past that. So I have two more requests on our budget. We have the addition of an adjustment counselor this year, a wonderful position. This adds to our clinical staff for students. It adds that wraparound service, that home connection. It is currently a .5 position. Grateful we never had that position before. It's like a taste of what's to come because the position is half-time. Things don't end at noon because that person needs to leave. And that's been a little tricky for us because we do have needs. We have our transitional program, our Cubby's Den, which is similar to the START program at the high school, similar to the Eagle's Nest or the Roost at Elmwood. And we have successfully been using this to transition children to the public school or back to school, whatever the case might be. And this position has been fabulous, but as I mentioned, things don't end just because someone's day ends. So we seek to make that a full-time position. The last request that I have is an English language arts tutor. Our school benefits from the expertise of a math tutor who facilitates math reinforcement, instruction, extension, facilitates data analysis with teachers. As we look at addressing our growing needs in our population, looking at solidifying that foundation for learning that our students have. As we look at our growth through the elementary years, we truly are in alignment. We've done a job sort of tightening that up over the last few years, and as our population is continually changing, working on adding tools to support that instructional approach. So it's not just the classroom teacher per se, but another added enhancement to solidify that foundation, and that would help us achieve that. We reworked our schedule this year, so we have a block of time that we have for intervention and extension, and something that we're finding with our staff is, okay, we've got this block of time, we've got these groups. I can't get to all these groups myself. We need more manpower. How can we address those targeted direct needs? And that position, which would be on the paraprofessional contract, would help us address that. Looking at the overall budget, of course, those asked did put me up, but I tend not to ask just for wishes or things that I think would be nice. Truly looking at what is it that would help us maintain, carry on, and continue our growth, as that's what we strive to do with our school improvement plans. And that's what it sort of sums up to at this point. Looking at our general supplies, being very mindful of that. It might look a little different because now I had needed to add the supplies for an additional classroom. Something that's benefited us is Hopkins. We've borrowed some desks from them. Our building was planned for 18 to 20 in a class. So as we've had some classes increase, we're shipping some desks over, maybe a few chairs, and we definitely will continue to do that as they have available things. Yes, yes. So that's an awful lot in a short amount of time, so ask away.
Questions?
Lauren, if we were to give you 2 full-time teachers, and I'm just speaking hypothetically and from the land of fairies, obviously, because this is not going to happen.
Okay. All right, I'll bring myself
If we
down.
were giving you 2 full-time teachers, which it sounds like you need to get the classes down to 18 to 20, which is the optimal size for kids this age, would you even have room?
So I've thought about that, because next year we no longer have that flex space. We have specialists traveling. The health room will be a preschool room. The art room will be a first grade classroom. Yes, I know. So we had 2 years of that space. Hopefully we can go back to it, because it's not what we seek to do in the future. So every nook and cranny is used, but I've thought about that because there may come a day when we need another classroom. The next room that would become a classroom wasn't meant to be a classroom, but it would be, is the family resource room. So then, should we need a classroom if it was to be a K classroom. First grade would move to the family resource room, kindergarten would be in the art room, it has the bathroom, that's a requirement with the codes, it's got a little bit more in terms of surrounding neighbors, if you will, and that would be a significant loss because that's our adult learning space for staff meetings, professional development, new teacher orientation. We do a lot of our district safety meetings there.
Does it have a window? It's not
The bridge meets
external
there.
building, is external room, is it?
It's at the top of the staircase.
Right, but it doesn't itself have an external window, right? It just gets
Well,
light.
the window you can see out onto the
Atrium.
A-wing, if you will, so it's right next to the library. But that, if need be, that's what we would use.
It's got a refrigerator and stove.
It does, so...
That's useful for those 6-year-olds.
Right. So we don't need that now, but as you think ahead, because where would you go?
Right.
And how big can those classes be?
Well, to be an effective classroom, we really don't want to go over the highest that we have now, 24. Little people need a lot of direction, and it's not just the academics, we're also teaching them, how do you do school? How do you be a friend? How do you wait your turn? And that isn't always reflected on growth charts and assessment information, because having a class come together as a community means that you have the time to teach some of those skills. Children need to, how do you solve a problem? I was in a classroom the other day, and I had 2 different examples. I had some children who rock, paper, scissors, who went first in a game, and the others who argued and said, I'm not your friend anymore. But we need to be able to spend the time with the one who says, I'm not going to be your friend, because chances are that's going to come up again. If you're having an issue, what's a productive way to solve it? And that's hard when you have a lot of little people together. I know.
Regards to the space and the size, is the art room as big as the other classrooms?
It's a little bit smaller due to, we have 2 wonderful deep base sinks. There's 4 sinks in that room because when you walk into that room and you're going to create wonderful things. The cabinetry is different. It was designed as an art room, but we knew it was a flex space if we needed it. Just didn't think we'd need it after 2 years. Thank goodness we had that addition of 4 classrooms during the project because we're filling them, and here we are already in the flex space.
It's shocking to see a first grade class size projected as over 300, the 313. I mean, that's just what we historically has been reserved for the high school, and even that, it has been lower in the 300s than that. I would shudder to think about what that class size is going to be by the time they're in the high school.
Yes, I know.
I just want to comment on your, in support of your paraprofessional, just because I think, to your point about all the other things you teach, I think relationships are so important, and if one person is covering, 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 classes, the amount of time, the consistency of them getting in front of each kid is going to be very little, and so the kids aren't going to relate as well, they're not going to open up as much, and so I think having the right ratio, or a better ratio at least, even if we don't get you right, even if we're better, I definitely support that, and I support all the thought and work that you've put into this.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It seems like a constrained ask.
Exactly. I'm not asking for above and beyond. This is sort of what we need to function, and it's hard to think that we're going to have over 300 in kindergarten. Sometimes that's equivalent of an elementary school, and that's just one grade. And when you think how much we've grown since I first presented to the school committee back when it was in the middle school library, it's a big change. So it's a positive change. Everyone wants to be here, but trying to keep up with it
It's being
tricky.
prepared to be responsive, not having to be reactive.
Right. Yeah, thank goodness we're at Marathon. That's all I can
know.
say. Yeah,
That way, I don't know what you'd be doing at center.
I don't know.
Jen, I was just about to read your notes. Do you
My
want to
comments,
go ahead?
no, go ahead, you can, since I didn't pull them up, but I did, I wasn't sure if I'd be back in time to capture presentation, so I did email some comments to everyone just because I didn't want to, but I'm sure they've already been said in some way, shape, or form. Just basically that the whole idea of the fact that there'll still be 22 kids in every classroom, and, the request for the paraprofessionals, I mean, this is the way it goes, right? And so I think, I don't know what's already been said, but it was absolutely something that I felt like we have to support, because that's a lot of little kids in one place, with one adult, so I know you're in a tricky spot.
All very supportive. There was a suggestion of maybe 2 additional teachers, and then it was promptly pulled back.
Are you sure you don't want more teachers?
Space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So on my end too, I echo what my colleagues are saying. This is a time of unprecedented growth, and especially at the youngest grade levels, it's very hard. And we're very, very appreciative. I speak for myself, and I'm sure my colleagues would agree here. We so appreciate the work that you do, and we appreciate the constraint that you bring. You're being very careful and